The possible Chargers move to London. I said I don't think it's possible, strictly because I played there, and the logistics behind it I think could be a real nightmare for everybody. But if the NFL wants to expand the game into Europe, that's the way to do it. We talked about why not Canada? Why not give the Canucks a shot? Why not let the Canadians who already enjoy the game, why not give them a team? Or Mexico. I mean, they're building a wall. Why not build a stadium? Put one up down there. You know what I mean? I mean, it's one of those things where there's a lot of places where we could grow. I don't know why going to Europe and putting a team there has to happen, because if you're expanding the season to 17 anyways, I think that sets up beautifully for one neutral site game a year anyways for everybody. Have that be in Europe. Just have that. Don't make a group of players and families and everything move to Europe for 8 weeks and then come back. I mean, just logistically, it's setting up to be a nightmare. I'm sure there's some smarter humans than I that'll figure out how they would do it and how they would have a home location where players would try out at, and then they would fly to England if they make the team and then get cut the next day. Because we got to remember, there's a lot of transactions on NFL teams, and you don't hear about a lot of them because it's not the top 20 players or whatever. Special teams, though, kind of come and go as they please. I mean, that's just a revolving door, basically, and to be that far away from America is a very interesting thing. Now, technology helps out with travel, and I'm sure Elon Musk will create a portal at some point where we can just hop in and pop out in Europe. But for the time being, I just think you should have games played over there so that all the fans of all the teams in Europe, which is what happens, by the way. You go to Los Angeles, and you just assume that all these people that have come from all over the country who are fans of every other team are just going to become fans of your team. But instead, what you have is an away game for your home team every single time. That's the same thing that'll happen in Europe. So not only are you living in Europe away from your family, not only is it incredibly difficult to travel there if you're young on the team, but now you have no home games either, because in Europe, they're fans of everything. When we played over there, there was more Kobe Bryant jerseys than Colts jerseys, I think. It was just an American sports event they came over. There's baseball jerseys. It was just a chance to see American sports, a chance to see a sport that they don't get to see. It's just like whenever the UEFA teams come over and do the American tour, it's not just the fans of that team, it's the fans of the entire league that go. So I think if you put a team in England, you're going to get a lot of fans over there. They're already fans of other teams, and maybe they'll transition to your team, but it's going to take a little bit, and by that time, it's like, why don't we just have neutral games over there and just keep everybody happy? Then you can move them from Wembley. You can go drop one in Germany if you want. You can drop one over here. Then you're not just stuck with one team over there. And I think that's the right way to do it. But like I said, billionaires have bigger brains than me. I'd assume they definitely have bigger planes than us. We found that out. But it just doesn't seem like the right move to me, even though they're trying to grow the game as much as they can. Why not put a game down in Africa, by the way, or Australia, where all the punters are coming from? I assume you could sell out a stadium in Australia very quickly. And I assume that country is starting to fall in love with our sport, because we're taking a lot of their best athletes whenever they're done and making them stars over here, making them a lot of money over here. I think you should just keep that thing moving over there, because I think logistically that's a nightmare to deal with in London.
Is it crazy to think that the team in London would win every game over there and then just lose every game in the United States and go like 8-8 every year? Or is that not really how that would work?
So I think they would have away games, 8 straight games whenever they come back home. Right. I think that's the only way it would work, unless you do like a quarterly, like 4, 4, 4, 4. Then it's even worse, because then you're living each month. You're living in a different place. I just. Logistically, I don't think it's going to work.
If the NFL ever created a true like feeder league or developmental league, would it be better to have it in London or here in the States?
Hey, the World League was awesome back then. That's where Vinatieri came from. Vinatieri came from the Amsterdam Admirals, and I told him, I don't know how, as a 21-year-old or 22-year-old, you were able to focus on kicking footballs in stadiums that weren't filled in Amsterdam. More power to you. As soon as I met him, that's what I told him. I was like, you played for the Amsterdam Admirals? He was like, yeah, a long time ago. I was like, How? That's like, you were like my age when you were doing that right now, because when I met him, I was 21 or whatever. And he's like, yeah, 21, 22 or whatever. I was like, there's a lot of options for a 22-year-old kid. And he came out of there. A lot of players came out of that World League back in the day. It disbanded. I don't know why. I used to enjoy watching those games too. What was it, like the Rhine Fire or something like that? Yeah, I used to enjoy that. I am in favor of bringing back the World League. I am in favor of that. But I mean, the XFL is going to find out. I think it's hard to have another league. The Canadian Football League has survived because they have rules about who can come from where. They changed the game a little bit, a lot more motion, a lot more speed before the snap, because they don't have as much speed post-snap up there. So they kind of adapted with the game. But I think the feeder league is something that the what were they?
AAFL.
Well, then UFL as well. But the AAFL, I mean, that was just terrible business from top to bottom. As soon as, I mean, that thing sniffed like a crook from the beginning. I didn't fully, I was asked to commentate that league. And I just looked at a couple things, and I was like, I have a lot of respect for Bill Polian. Troy Polamalu, obviously, dream crusher, a little bit of an ass, but an incredible football player. I have a lot of respect for him. But above them, it didn't feel like anybody who actually knew how to run a business was trying to run that business. And in a business that revolves around a lot of moving parts, you have to have a pretty sound operation to get it going. So I kind of knew that league had zero shot from jump. Now the XFL is coming out with salary average and things like that, and players are dropping out. I think it's going to be very difficult to get into the football world. But if the NFL was to run the World Football League, I think it'd be cool to bring back the World League. I don't know how many players would love it, but I would enjoy it just strictly as a spectator, because getting a chance to kind of drop into Europe each weekend, because those fans are different now.
Sure.
Hooligans are just different. I don't think the NFL games on Sunday morning really get a chance to show the hooligans of Europe fans. Those teams, though, like the Rhine team and the Amsterdam team, there's a select group over there that treat it as if it's a soccer team, right? So you got flares in the stands, you got nudes over there, you got people going nuts. Like, that's the type of stuff that I'm here for. You know, I got a chance to go see a Paris Saint-Germain game with my old man whenever I was a teenager playing in France. Man, I saw a lot that day. I saw a lot that day. There was literally like a fire in the hole moment when a flare got lit off in a crowd. I mean, it was just magical. And I think the World Football League had that in little tiny doses. Yeah. And I think that would be awesome to see in the football world, because it's not on those 9 a.m. games or whatever.
When you talk about like the 17-game season and doing a neutral site game for each team or whatever, I thought it'd be cool if you did like regional
college.
So Eagles and Steelers would play at Penn State.
Yeah,
like Texans and Dallas would play at like the Alamo Bowl each year. So you have those cross-conference rivalry games that are really cool in college, like the Red River rivalry and the largest outdoor cocktail party, Georgia, Florida.
Not allowed to call it that.
Come on, Tony.
Can't do it anymore.
Can't do it. Can't win with it.
I don't work for the NCAA.
Sure.
But like, I thought it'd be cool if you could find like a rivalry that you create
Nailed it.
like that for each year. I thought that'd be cool. Something
be
like
fun.
that.
Yeah, like the Bengals versus the Browns at Buckeye Stadium or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't think they'd be able to fill it up.
You're probably right.
But those types of things can be built up as special games.
Yeah.
Oh, and then they can have like a game day environment before it. Ooh. The traveling ones around the globe. I think the neutral game sucks for the players, by the way. You got to go play on some college field with some college. Now, granted, some college places are much nicer than NFL stadiums. I mean, there's some NFL stadiums that are worse than high school stadiums. But I do believe that type of stuff would be awesome. That'd be very cool.
You could easily fill 100,000 Happy Valley with Eagles and Steelers fans. That'd be a cool environment.
That'd be very cool. It's like the stadium series for the
hockey.
hockey.
Yeah.
I like that, by the way, whenever the hockey does it. That's one thing that the NHL, they got one thing right, and that's the stadium series.
Yeah. They might overdo it now and overindulge a little bit. It's kind of losing its luster, but when they started it was great.
Why do these NHL fans have to hate everything?